So as you guys know, I'm a Timberwolves, Orlando Magic, and Washington Wizards fan. And supposedly, this is weird. Former head of basketball for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Gersson Rosas, was the main negotiator on New York side in the Utah Jazz. So let's talk about it. I want to hear your thoughts. Oh, baby. This is weird. This is weird, guys. Gersson Rosas. Nosotros somos hermanos latinos. Quiero querer a él, pero no puedo porque es un cretino. Okay? If you guys understood what I meant right there. But look, I like him. I used to like him. I wanted to like Gersson Rosas because I'm Argentine. He's Colombian. You know, we're supposed to represent Latino brothers, but just couldn't. Just couldn't. And this is something I find interesting due to the fact that, look, Gersson Rosas allegedly, let me read it. This is from the Boston Globe. So Gersson was let go by the Timberwolves last year due to the fact that he reportedly had a dysfunctional front office that included his relationship with a team employee. Rosas was hired as a consultant by the Knicks in February, but took control of the Mitchell talks because of his relationship with Jazz general manager Justin Zanik. And if you want to see where that relationship goes, it's actually kind of interesting because if you look at their cross pass, where like they could have crossed, it's actually kind of interesting because it must have been through his job as an agent, Justin Zanik, because Zanik's only worked with the Jazz and the Bucks, and Gersson Rosas has basically worked with the Sixers and Timberwolves and Mavericks. Not Sixers, my apology. Rockets, Timberwolves, and Mavericks. So he's worked under Daryl Morey basically. So it must be like an agent connection. So apparently Gersson Rosas is trusted by Leon Rose with negotiations, and it became obvious over the past few weeks that the Knicks were in the driver's seat to acquire Mitchell, a New York native who everybody knew that he wanted to play for the Knicks. It became unclear, however, how many assets the Knicks were willing to relinquish for Mitchell. And as you guys know, Gersson Rosas was the guy who traded all our picks for D'Angelo Russell, so I don't get what the holdup was for the picks. Now the Knicks, despite their troublesome recent past, compiled a group of strong talent in Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, Mitchell Robinson, R.J. Barrett. However, they were reluctant to give up Grimes or Barrett, then set a Monday deadline for the Jazz before they agreed to that 4-year, $120 million extension. The question is whether Rose's decision to allow Rosas to control the talks cost Knicks Mitchell. Rose and Danny Ainge never spoke during negotiations, according to industry sources. Now, the Knicks, a few minutes after the Mitchell deal with the Cavaliers were announced, posted that they had signed Barrett to the extension. Now, it's weird. It's weird. I agree. It's weird. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Hey, don't get me wrong. Gersson Rosas is a guy that, at this point, do I think he cost them? No. I think he just wasn't trying to give up the farm. And I think that's the big thing people aren't realizing is that he probably wasn't trying to give up the farm. And maybe this is a sign of Gersson Rosas growing. Because as a whole, I think this team is deeper without Donovan Mitchell. With Donovan Mitchell, they would have been a good team. Their ceiling might have been higher. But I'd like to say that I personally think by not trading for Mitchell, the Knicks have just protected themselves, okay? And maybe that's just something, obviously I could be wrong, but I do believe it's something to look at and kind of question like, oh, did this have a factor, okay? Did this truly have a factor, or was this just circumstantial? I think really this deal did not happen because the Knicks didn't want to give up the bank, and I don't get why they couldn't have come out with a deal where it was maybe like Emmanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, and Evan Fournier for 3 first-round picks unprotected and 2 pick swaps. Couldn't they not match that deal? That's my question. But again, I'm also a guy sitting in his bedroom making videos while Gersson Rosas was the guy negotiating this. So who's really in the wrong? You know, me or Gersson's? Because Gersson's is living the dream, it seems like. Now, let me hear your thoughts, guys. But